These gangsters, these street motherfuckers that y'all be so wanting to glow. Listen to what this said. The magistrate court's decision to release the defendant was driven primarily by his limited formal criminal history. That means that he's done nothing street. He ain't no gangster. That's why he following. They finna give him $100,000 bail in the feds after being caught with a Draco and a pistol. When he was arrested, sitting next to him in the back seat, it's a Draco and a pistol, and the judge was still finna give him a federal bond. This
Noli, fucking with me. We finna make this shit happen. Cause they can't do it. Played the front in the morning, hit the back when the sun fell. Hiding transactions from the neighbors so they don't tell. Regardless what we spread, this bitch won't hide the dope smell. Niggas get popped, took the jail and sell dope tails. How the fuck you still on the bricks with open dope sales? If they ain't did it already, believe they gon' tell. Outsmart the rookies, so the sergeants on our coattails.
Yo, what's poppin', man? What's to it? Y'all already know how the squad do it. You gotta stay moving to get through it. I hope everybody is blessed and stress-free. And if you ain't, start knowing you can so you can stop thinking you can't. With that being that, we finna jump straight into it. Stupidity. Yeah, stupidity. Leaders, followers, right? They say in order to be a great leader, one day you had to be a even better follower, right? And I feel like that's the situation with this whole Pooh Shiesty Gucci Mane situation right now. What's crazy is everybody keeps on just labeling it Pooh Shiesty Gucci Mane, Pooh Shiesty Gucci Mane, which it should have been. That's how this should have been handled between Montrell and Roderick, right? And they lawyers. Instead, we have the world dwelling over this whole Pooh Shiesty and Gucci thing. Well, let's get an understanding of life, all right? As human beings and as adults, okay? We have the options to yay or nay. For those of you who don't know what that means, yes or no, right? Now, you come to me with a situation as an adult, right? I make my own decisions. Now, depending on the type of situation that we walking into, is going to curve my level of wanting to be a part of it, right? But at no point in time do we get 9 people together. Look at that. Look how many that is, right? At no point in time do we get 9 people together, right? And not one of them use their brain. You got 9 people and not one of them thought to use their brain. Not even the oldest person in the room, which was Pooh Shiesty's father, right? So what we gonna do? Because Big 30, another person who's involved in this, that people are just, primarily, looking past as if like, no, he plays a really big role in this, according to the government, and also according to witnesses. Yeah, witnesses, which is crazy. Y'all let people be witnesses. But so on the 13th, right, Big 30 went to court about his bail. They granted him $100,000 bail, right, where he would have just had to pay the 10% of that. But the government, like Nathaniel, shorty like you is not going no. Look, we want y'all to vacate all of this. You hear me? And we finna tell you why. We finna tell you why. On January 10th, 2026, the defendant, a hip hop artist known as Big 30, participated in an armed kidnapping and robbery of 3 victims at a recording studio on Dallas Parkway in Dallas, Texas. Now, some of y'all might read that and be, or hear that and be thinking like, well, he didn't do this or he didn't do none of. Listen, I'm in here doing this, they in there doing that. I'm a part of that robbery. They're a part of this kidnapping. You see what I'm saying? So everybody in this, everybody who's here, whatever goes on, we all charged with the same shit. We all charged with the same shit. So, and that's why they got 3 victims. Because you might be thinking like, well, Big 30 wasn't never in the room with the security guard and he was just sitting there. Yeah, it don't matter. All of that was one calculated move. You know what I'm saying? So, acting in concert with his close associate, Lantrell Williams Jr., a hip-hop artist known as Pooh Shiesty, Williams Jr.'s father, Lantrell Williams Sr., and 6 additional co-conspirators. The defendant played a central operational role in the offense. Now, when they say something like that, they meaning that basically what he did was so significant in making the situation move forward that he's more a part of it than not. You know what I'm saying? So like, had he not done what he done, things might not have went off the way that they went, right? When Williams Jr. and the victim RD began arguing over a recording contract, Williams Jr. instructed the defendant to retrieve a bag. See that? Follower. Not only a follower, but somebody's telling you to go do something. You're being bossed around. So you're a worker at this point. You're the help. Go get this bag. Now, in your mind, you thinking, oh, I'm just being a real nigga. No, you're the help. That's exactly what you are. You're the help. Right? The defendant complied. You hear that? Complied. Returning with a bag containing an AK-style pistol, a Draco, that Williams Jr. then pointed at RD's head while forcing him to sign a purported contract release. Now, right? Understand this. You hold a gun to my head, you say, give me your money, and then you leave. Oh, this bitch ass nigga just robbed me, it's up. Give me all your shit, this bitch ass nigga just robbed me, it's up. You don't rob a person for their signature. No. So now once you forced him to write his signature on here, this takes it to something completely different, right? Now, the defendant, Big 30, then filmed RD signing the coerced paperwork. Now, some of y'all might sit and think, now why would he do that? All of this had a bigger it was an overlay for the underlay, right? Y'all gonna miss the mark on this the whole time. This ain't just about getting out of this contract. This is about a whole lot of everything mixed into one. But it's also about trying to become the toughest and the biggest rapper, right? See, Young Boy just did what he done. Ain't nobody on Young Boy level right now. How do I get there, right? So now you got this controversy around the Yo Gotti thing. Yo Gotti and Gucci going at it. Boom. Now all of a sudden you get seen in the studio with Yo Gotti. Then boom, you put Yo Gotti's name in your FDO song. And then now this happens. Big 30, he's recording this happening. Well, guess what? Since everybody wants to put it like, oh, well, he thought that you wasn't going to tell on him and you was going to keep it street. Well, how would that have sounded, right? him keeping the street, and then Pooh Shiesty dropping a video on Yo Gotti's label with Yo Gotti in it, with the footage that Big 30 took of making Gucci Mane sign him out of his contract. Oh man, this would have blew him up. He would have blew up beyond belief, right? Because that's what the world would have wanted to push. Y'all don't understand this. It's higher powers in the world, man, and y'all be missing it, right? As the remaining co-defendants, though, thereafter robbed 2 additional victims at gunpoint in the adjacent control room. The defendant barricaded the studio door with his body, preventing the victims' armed security from entering and the victims from escaping, while pointing a firearm at security personnel who attempted to breach the door. So, his role in this. See, what everybody is missing is, why are all these people here? You're signed into this contract. So now that just leads me to believe that, we all know Gucci's reputation. And we all know what's going on. And they knew that they couldn't pull that off with just, Pooh Shiesty and his daddy. Right? Hey, that wasn't going to happen. But y'all don't want to give it that type of, y'all want to just, But then Big 30, he's so stupid. He's so big and dumb. You know what I'm saying? You got a deal coming up, motherfuckers trying to sign you with. You got your own motion and you in here doing some stupid shit like this. You bet. Oh, that's why. Because you a real nigga. Yeah, you a real one, man. You a real one, especially for your mans, right? That's right. So now you don't. So now the security guard, because I'm guaranteeing you, the security guard is the one who gave this statement that you pointed your gun at them, while he was trying to get in the room. So you standing in front of the door, then you pointing a pistol at the. So, oh man, this is bad for you, right? The defendant's conduct was anything but minor and demonstrates the danger he poses to the community if allowed to remain on pretrial release. See, I guess none of y'all thought that y'all could get in trouble. I guess none of y'all really figured and felt like, oh, well, this is a problem. No, bro, this is bigger than what you thinking, right? So now, the defendant was charged via criminal complaint with the violation of 18 U.S.C. 1201 A and C, kidnapping and conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and arrested on March 30th, 2026 in Memphis, Tennessee. Right now, guaranteed some more charges is gonna come. But to get y'all in here right now, oh, we got you here. Kidnapping and conspiracy. Do you know what conspiracy mean? Huh? Do you know what conspiracy mean? See, that was the planning. Hey, yeah, man, fuck this nigga. I'm finna go in here and he finna do this and I'm finna make him do that. Hey, listen, check this out. This is what we're gonna do. This gonna be, look, when I tell, if he ain't trying to, when I tell you go get the bag, go grab my bag, you bring it to me. When I get the bag, when y'all see 30 come grab that bag, then y'all know that's y'all cue to do blah, 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 blah. Right? That's the conspiracy. That's the conspiracy. And you have 9 people here. All they need is one person to confirm the conspiracy, and all of you are gone. At the time of his arrest, officers found him in the back seat of a vehicle alongside a Draco-style firearm and a purple-handled Glock pistol. His cousin, who was driving, was also armed with a handgun and an additional assault rifle. Now, we got 2 people in the car. Big 30, is you so big that you can't sit in the front seat? Or is this how y'all ride? One in the front, one in the back. You got your guns, he got his guns, so he's supposed to shoot and drive. He the shooter. Yeah, y'all, boy, y'all crazy out here, right? Boom. Upon realizing that the law enforcement was executing the stop, The defendant smashed his cell phone, the same phone on which he had recorded RD's coerced signing in an apparent attempt to destroy evidence. So, y'all notice that's finna come, right? Yeah. Destruction of evidence and all of this, extras and the goofies, right? So now then, boom. April 6th, the defendant appeared before Magistrate Judge Andy Kristoff in the Western District of Tennessee for a detention hearing. FBI Special Agent Marcellus Hobbs testified for the government. The defense called the defendant's father, Rodney Wright Sr., and the defendant's music label representative who testified regarding the defendant's family ties, career, and community involvement. How the fuck do you go in here and argue any of this? You finna go in here and tell these people these things when you got these folks saying that these people did this. At the conclusion of the hearing, Judge Kristoff denied the government's motion to detain and ordered the defendant released on a $100,000 bond secured by 10%. The magistrate court's decision to release the defendant was driven primarily by his limited formal criminal history and strong family support. Now, do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? I want y'all to hear this. These gangsters, these street motherfuckers that y'all be so wanting to glow. Listen to what this said. The magistrate court's decision to release the defendant was driven primarily by his limited formal criminal history. That means that he's done nothing street. He ain't no gangster. That's why he following. They finna give him a $100,000 bail in the feds after being caught with a Draco and a pistol. When he was arrested, sitting next to him in the back seat, it's a Draco and a pistol, and the judge was still finna give him a federal bond. This lets y'all know there is nothing gangster, nothing about big. What's so big about Big 30? However, her analysis and ultimate conclusion fails to properly account for the severity of the defendant's role in the charged offense. We don't care about what he ain't never done before. We talking about what he did this time, right? His destruction of evidence upon arrest, his possession of multiple firearms at the time of his arrest. How many guns you need? It look good though, don't it? Hitmen don't even need that many guns. A hitman don't even need all that. What y'all can? What you need all that for? Right? His identified gang affiliation with the Grape Street Crips. Identified. Now imagine having a gang affiliation and no criminal history. What Finesse say? You ain't get away that much. There ain't that much getting away in the world, bitch. You ain't got away that much. No, you ain't did shit. You see what I'm saying? And the fact that he had already received the benefit of a judicial diversion on a prior weapons offense. This goes to further show the lack of gangsterness in y'all's gangster rapper. He had a weapons case already that they gave him. Don't do it again. You don't do that shit again. Yet chose to participate in an armed kidnapping. Nonetheless, for all the reasons set forth below, this court should vacate the conditions of release and order the defendant detained pending trial. On January 10th, 2026, three victims, RD, MM, and BP, flew into Dallas, Texas for a scheduled business meeting between RD and Williams Jr. at a music recording studio at Dallas Parkway. RD is a prominent music executive and the head of the 1017 recording label, to which Williams Jr. has been signed since approximately 2021. Now, I want y'all to understand the terminology in that. RD, meaning Roderick Davis, not GM, meaning Gucci Mane. RD, right? A prominent music executive and head of the 1017 recording label, which Williams Jr. has been signed since, not Pooh Shiesty. When he got his deal, he signed his contract as Lontrell Williams Jr. Yeah. Okay. Williams Jr. had asked RD to come to Dallas so they could discuss business. Williams Jr.'s father, Lontrell Sr., called the studio owner JN multiple times on the afternoon of January 10th, 2026, and ultimately booked the recording studio under the pretext that Williams Jr. and RD were going to record music together. Under the pretext, JN opened the studio at approximately 3:15 for RD and his associates who had been waiting. At approximately 3:43, the defendants, Williams Jr., Williams Sr., and 6 additional individuals showed up. Corday Johnson, Kedarius Waters, Terrence Rogers, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, and Demarion McDaniel. Now, I want to point out the fact, right, of those names right there. Corday Johnson, Kedarius Waters, Terrence Rogers, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, right? Oh, my Jesus. And then Darion McDaniel. Now, what I want to know is this. I would assume that Pooh Shiesty and his dad and 2 people was in one car. And Big 30 and these other 5 people, or these other Big 30 and these other 4 people was in another car, right? I want to know this. How broke do you have to be? Especially to ride bitch. One of y'all had to ride bitch. Which one of y'all was in there sitting in the middle? Right? But they entered the east side of the office building and proceeded to the studio. The 9 individuals entered the studio's control room where the victims were watching a football game. RD's head of security, CW, was positioned in the studio lobby, while another security officer, CD, remained in the vehicle. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? So, Gucci came in, and he had 1 security officer in the lobby and 1 in the car still. I wonder if they knew that. Anyway, Williams Jr. asked RD to speak privately in the attached recording room. RD agreed to enter the recording room with the defendant, Williams Jr. and Williams Sr. Once inside, Williams Jr. produced purported contract termination paperwork and told RD to sign. When RD declined, Williams Jr. became agitated. Williams Jr. instructed the defendant to retrieve a bag, which the defendant did. From that bag, Williams Jr. pulled out an AK-style pistol and pointed it directly at RD. RD was not permitted to leave the recording room while held at gunpoint. Williams Jr. then took RD's wedding ring, watch, earrings, and cash. Shortly thereafter, the remaining 6 co-defendants, Waters, Rogers, Johnson, Glover, McDaniel, and Gibson, produced handguns or AR/AK style pistols in the control room and began robbing MM and BP at gunpoint. BP was pushed onto a couch during the altercation and had his wallet and chain and a necklace with 1017 pennies stolen. What y'all don't get is this. That's the conspiracy. This is how they prove the conspiracy, right? They don't know to start robbing them until Big 30 goes and gets this bag and brings it back in here to Pooh Shiesty. Pooh Shiesty pulls this gun out. They do what they do, right? Now, as the robbery and kidnapping ensued, the defendant barricaded the studio door with his body, we talking about Big 30, to prevent the victim's security from entering. CW and TD, the victim's armed security officers, attempted to force their way into the control room, but were able to open the door only partially. Upon seeing Wright and other armed suspects positioned behind the door, they recognized they were outnumbered and outgunned and withdrew. Now, do y'all really think that Gucci Mane really needs to say anything to get any convictions? See, what Gucci had to do was let these people know that this contract, or me signing him out of this contract, is not a real thing. Yet y'all looking at this and thinking, listen, is this what y'all missing? This is what y'all didn't get. See, even if they go to jail because these people turn them in, if Gucci never says nothing about being forced to sign this contract, that officially lets Pooh Shiesty out of his contract, which means that he can still bust the move that he wanted to do in any way, shape, or form, right? Well, at the end of the day, this right here lets you know. This right here lets you know. Now, inside the control room, RD was pushed onto a couch as the victims feared they were about to be executed. Williams Jr. then pressed the barrel of a firearm to the back of BP's head and ordered him and RD to leave the studio through the west entrance of the building. Now, he pressed the barrel of a firearm to the back of BP's head. Who y'all think told them that? BP, right? They don't need nothing from Gucci. Gucci don't have to cooperate. This is what y'all missing. Gucci don't gotta say a motherfucking thing. Him making a rap about that shit and trolling and doing what he did. Yeah, it ain't no different than what y'all like that 50 Cent did. 50 Cent did it to Diddy, right? Y'all was cool with that. So at the end of the day, all he doing is trolling. But y'all see that? BP, he put it to the back of BP head. Well, BP, all BP got to do is say, yeah, he had the firearm and he put it to the back of my head. It's over for Pooh Shiesty regardless. But y'all want to keep being just concerned about Gucci Mane saying that, yeah, he made me sign this contract. So now, which means that this is void and the original contract is still valid. Anyway. The defendant played a key role as a principal actor in the execution of the kidnapping and robbery. Understand that. The evidence demonstrates that the defendant was not a bystander, but a principal actor whose conduct was essential to the execution of the kidnapping. When the initial attempt to coerce RD into signing the contract release failed, Williams Jr. instructed the defendant to go get his bag. The defendant left the recording room, retrieved the bag, and returned with the pistol. The defendant thus directly facilitated the armed component of the kidnapping. Now, if you don't understand what that means that if Big 30 does not go get this bag, it doesn't become armed. It doesn't get armed. There isn't a firearm introduced. Even with Pooh Shiesty saying going to get the bag, there ain't a firearm produced until Big 30 comes back with the bag that contains the firearm. So, he's playing more of a part in this than anybody is actually given weight to. Barricading the door. As the remaining co-defendants robbed MM and BP at gunpoint in the control room, the defendant walked to the studio door, closed it, and blocked it with his body. Fat ass. That's why he was in front of the door. He was the fat one. Preventing the victims from leaving and the victims' armed security from entering. This enabled the simultaneous robberies to proceed uninterrupted. Yeah. Number 4, confronting security with a firearm. When security officers CW and TD managed to partially breach the door with handguns drawn, they observed the defendant and at least 2 others standing behind the door armed with firearms. The defendant was pointing a firearm at the security guards, who recognized they were outnumbered and outgunned and retreated. Now, right? Understand that. They observed the defendant and 2 others. Who is giving this statement right here? Security officers CW and TD managed to partially breach the door with handguns drawn. They observed the defendant and at least 2 others standing behind the door armed with firearms. That means all 3 of them, Pooh Shiesty, his daddy, and Big 30, had guns. And this is why they backed out. Like, traveling with co-conspirators before and after. Cell phone records and vehicle telematics confirmed that the defendant traveled from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas, Texas in the Dodge Charger Hellcat registered to his father, arriving on January. Oh my God. The defendant traveled with the other co-conspirators to the offense location and then to the... Oh my God. The defendant possessed firearms and destroyed his cell phone at the time he was arrested. The defendant was arrested on March 30th, 2026. In the morning hours, law enforcement had been tracking his cell phone location. An arrest warrant in hand decided to initiate a vehicle stop. Upon realizing that police were behind him and activating their lights, the defendant, who was seated in the back seat, smashed his cell phone in an apparent attempt to destroy evidence, which could include the recording of RD's coerced contract signing. Officers recovered a destroyed phone, but due to the damage, were unable to power the device on. At the time of the arrest, he had a Draco and a purple-handled Glock. Purple. This nigga had a purple Glock. He had a purple. That nigga out there shooting Skittles. He is hungry as fuck. Oh, the vehicle thus contained at least 4 firearms amongst 2 occupants. You are going to jail, sir. We're going to get into the rest of this in another video. I ain't going to hold y'all too much longer on this one. I want y'all to really delve in and activate yourselves with this one so we can understand. Because this is... you talk about cooked. You talk about cooked. This is cooked. This is cooked. You are dead and deep fried. You ever heard of Popeyes? I'm talking about this is crazy. This is bro. Like you did more, bro. You did more than what was even then. Come on, oh man, bro. So that means, right? At the end of the day, hold on. Let's go back up here before I stop this because I want to see something. So, MM and BP and Gucci, they inside the place. So now this is where the plot twist and the shit thickens. Gucci didn't just come with those 2 people. So y'all made it there late. Y'all got there late. Gucci and his people was there before y'all even got there. Gucci got a security guard in the car, and he got another security guard in the lobby. And y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Y'all probably walked past the other security guard sitting in the lobby. It was one in the car. And then when they come in, this is the testimony of two security guards who tried to come in and get with they shit. Oh, y'all, yeah. Man, like, comment, subscribe, man. Hype this video. You know what I'm saying? Comment. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all think Big 30 a big dummy? I think he a big dummy. I think he's a real big idiot. Like, at the end of the day, like, it don't get no worse than this. This is just... subscribe to the channel, man. All the stuff y'all do when y'all come on here. That's what I want y'all to do. Just do everything that y'all usually do when y'all come on here. If you don't like no content, don't like mine. If you watch it and don't like it, that's cool. Whatever you do when you come on YouTube, do it for this video. I'ma holler at y'all later, man.